Hello everyone. We're going to start by installing Unreal Engine. First, just make sure you go into unrealengine.com and click on download. And once you're in, it will ask you to download the Epic Games Launcher. And once you have it downloaded, you have to make sure that you have your own account. So just make sure you create one or else you won't be able to access it. Once you're in, go into this Unreal Engine tab. In Library, you can download your first Unreal Engine version. So click on this plus icon and select the latest version. Or if you're running a computer that doesn't run an RTX card, then I would just recommend for you to download Unreal Engine 4. Click on Launch. It'll take a while for our project to open. And once it's open, we'll be greeted with the project browser. Now, this is a practice project that I have already made. Go to Game, and you'll see that there are quite a lot of templates that you can use. I would recommend just trying the blank template, but if you want to learn something from one of these templates and look at its blueprint, then these are all really good resources to just look into. I'm going to go ahead and go into the blank. I will just check off starter content, and I'll set my quality to maximum and make sure that I'm using blueprints. For the project, you can call it whatever you like. Maybe I can call it my first game and just save it to wherever you like. I would recommend if you have an SSD to just save it in that. And now we can hit create. Once our level has loaded up, you might be greeted with this kind of a landscape level. At least in my version, maybe in a future version, you will have a different starter level. But in my case, I'm going to just start by creating my own level. Go into File and create a new level. Now you'll see that you have quite a lot of templates. I will just stick to the basic one. Over here, you can see that we have a floor as well as some basic lighting and clouds. I'll hit create. And once you have created your new project, you have to make sure to go into File and save your level. And in my case, I'll just call this level_main. We will be creating another level for our main menu. But for now, if you want to access your content browser, you can click on this bottom left tab, or you can also hit Control Space. And what we'll do next is to create two folders. One would be our level folders. This is where we'll be keeping all our levels. And another one will be our blueprint folder. Depending on what we need, we will definitely be making more as we go. But for now, I also want to change the color to a bluish color just so that it's easier to see in the content browser, because the blueprint folders will be one that we'll be accessing a lot. And now I want to just make sure that this level is set to our default level. So go into Edit and in Project Settings, go into Map and Modes and just set these two to our level main. Our game default map and our editor startup map will be our level that we just made just now. Make sure you save your project. What I'll do as well is to scale the floor down a bit. Maybe I'll set it to 1, 1, and 1. Just make sure you select it and go into your details panel, which will show the transforms. And now we can go ahead and try to create our first blueprints. Now, by default, if I were to hit play, you'll see that we do kind of have a controller already where you can move around, but we will need to make our own blueprints where we can have our own characters moving and stuff like that. So in our blueprints folder, let us right click and create a blueprint character as well as a game mode. Now the character is what we're going to use to create our main player together with the model and all the code that goes with it. Our game mode is just used to set the rules for the game. And even though you can use it for quite a lot, in this course, we will actually just be using it to set our default character. So let it just select this, hit F2 to rename it, and I'll call this game mode main. And for this one, I'll call this BP_player. Using a BP underscore is just the common naming convention for blueprints. And now we can just make sure to double click on game mode. And we're going to make sure to set our default pawn class to our character, which is the BP_player. Hit compile and hit save, and we can close it up. Go into our project settings, and in map and modes, we have to make sure to set our game mode to the one that we have just made. And you'll see that in our selected game mode, now we have our BP player. Now, if I were to try to hit play, and before we hit play, I need to go into this basic tab and drag in a player start, which is where our player will spawn. And if I were to hit play, then you'll see that we're looking from the perspective of a player. We'll see that we can't really move, but those are some behaviors that we'll be adding later on. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this video. In the next video, we'll create our first blueprint and just try some really commonly used nodes. Thanks for watching.